Lentils. You probably walked past them in the grocery store and kept going. That was a mistake. One tiny bag contains more protein per dollar than almost any meat on the shelf. One variety has a legally protected name in Europe that means nothing in the United States. And companies exploit that gap every day. One country quietly became the world's largest lentil exporter without most Americans ever noticing. And the $40 lentil protein powder at your health food store is made from the exact same thing that costs $2 a pound in the dry goods aisle. This is Every Lentil Explained. Brown lentils. Brown lentils, the ones in every grocery store, every soup can, every bag of mixed lentils. They've been eaten by humans for over 13,000 years. Scientists found remains in Greek caves that predate metal tools and written language. The number that matters? Dried lentils deliver roughly 97 grams of protein per dollar. Ground beef delivers about 22 grams per dollar. Chicken breast, about 25.
Lentils beat both by a factor of 4. The protein industry doesn't advertise this. Meat lobbying organizations spent decades promoting the idea that real protein comes from animal sources and that plant proteins are incomplete or inferior. Brown lentils are not incomplete. They're low in one amino acid, methionine, which is covered by eating grains at any point during the day. The incomplete protein framing was largely a marketing position that nutritional science has mostly walked back. A 1-pound bag costs about $2 and makes 8 servings. That's 25 cents per meal for a food that sustained human civilizations for 13 millennia. Red lentils. Red lentils, the most widely eaten lentil on Earth, the backbone of Indian dal, the daily protein source for hundreds of millions of people across South Asia, Bangladesh, and the Middle East. They're not actually red, they're orange. The color comes from green or brown lentils that have had their outer skin removed and been split in half. That strips away some fiber, but makes them cook in 15 minutes without soaking, faster than almost any other lentil. India grows and consumes more lentils than any other country. Red lentils have been eaten continuously in South Asia for over 4,000 years. In the United States, red lentils were largely invisible until around 2015, when the plant-based food trend exploded and food companies discovered them. The same lentil that cost $1.50 per pound at a South Asian grocery now gets repackaged as protein-rich superfood lentils at Whole Foods for $6 a pound. Same lentil, different zip code. French green/Puy lentils. Puy lentils, the most legally complicated lentil in the world and the one most commonly faked in the American market.
The Puy region of France, a high volcanic plateau in the Haute-Loire, has been growing a specific small, firm, blue-green lentil for nearly 2,000 years. The volcanic soil, actual ancient lava, gives them a mineral intensity and firmness that no other lentil replicates, regardless of how long you cook them. In 1996, the French government granted them AOP protected status, the same legal protection as champagne and Parma ham. In Europe, calling something Puy lentils without meeting the geographic and quality standards is fraud. In the United States, that protection doesn't exist. Any company can print Puy lentils or French green lentils on a bag of regular Canadian green lentils and sell them at a premium. Amazon reviews for products labeled Authentic Le Puy lentils are full of customers writing, "These are not Puy lentils," and "Ordinary lentils packaged in Miami." There is no federal standard in the US that protects the name. Black beluga lentils. Black lentils. Tiny, shiny, jet black. They look exactly like beluga caviar, which is precisely why the food industry named them beluga lentils and charges accordingly. Wholesale price, roughly $2 to $3 per pound. Retail at a specialty grocer, $7 to $10 per pound. The same lentils on a restaurant plate labeled beluga lentil salad can represent a $4 to $8 ingredient cost in a dish that sells for $28. Real beluga caviar costs $2,000 to $4,000 per pound. The resemblance is visual only. Size, shape, color, shine. The flavor is earthy and nutty, nothing like fish eggs. Black lentils are the highest in antioxidants of any lentil variety due to the anthocyanins in their dark skin, the same pigment in blueberries. They hold their shape after cooking better than almost any other lentil. 20 years ago, black lentils were largely unknown to Western consumers. Beluga lentils put them on tasting menus in New York and London. A name change did what nothing else could.
Canadian lentils, Laird/Eston. Canada did not grow a single commercial lentil before 1970. Today, it produces roughly 40% of the world's supply and exports to over 80 countries. This happened because scientists decided to break a monopoly. Until the 1960s, lentils were grown almost entirely in South Asia and the Middle East. The assumption was that lentils required warm climates. Researchers at the University of Saskatchewan decided to test that. They developed cold-hardy varieties bred specifically for the Canadian prairies. Laird, a large green variety, in 1978, then Eston, a smaller dark green variety, shortly after. Saskatchewan, a flat, bitterly cold province most Americans couldn't locate on a map, now produces 95% of Canada's lentils. Canada accounts for more than 60% of global exports. Almost $2 billion worth of Canadian lentils were exported in 2024 alone. Most lentils labeled French green, Italian, Spanish, or even just green lentils in American supermarkets were grown in Saskatchewan. The packaging names a country or region. The back of the bag says, "Product of Canada." Yellow lentils. Yellow lentils. The name covers at least two completely different things, and the American grocery market does not distinguish between them. In Indian cooking, yellow lentils refers to specific varieties with specific names. Moong dal comes from split mung beans, chana dal from split chickpeas, tur dal from split pigeon peas. Each behaves differently, tastes different, and is used in different dishes. An Indian cook buying moong dal knows exactly what they're getting. An American consumer buying a bag labeled yellow lentils at a mainstream supermarket may not. The FDA does not require that yellow lentils specify which legume the bag actually contains. The label is a color description, not a botanical one. Two bags on the same shelf labeled yellow lentils can contain different species entirely. Moong dal is considered one of the most digestible foods in South Asian culinary and Ayurvedic medicine, given to babies, sick people, and the elderly. That reputation belongs to a specific variety. The generic label doesn't carry it. Umbrian/Castelluccio lentils. Castelluccio di Norcia, 150 residents. A volcanic plateau at 1,450 meters in the Umbrian Apennines. Italy's most acclaimed lentil. Poor, rocky, mineral-rich soil. Exactly what makes these lentils unique. Tiny, thin-skinned, earthy sweet, they cook in under 20 minutes without soaking. IGP protected status since 1997. Only lentils from this specific plateau can legally carry the name. On October 30th, 2016, a 6.5 magnitude earthquake, Italy's strongest since 1980, destroyed most of the village. 20 people stayed through winter in trailers. Without farmers on the plateau, the IGP designation collapses with no one to grow them. They rebuilt.
Italy is now spending 68 million euros to reconstruct the entire town on neoprene seismic isolators, floating it on a cushion to survive future earthquakes. Most Castelluccio lentils sold in the US are not from Castelluccio. The IGP protection applies in Europe, not here. Masoor, whole red. Masoor is the Hindi word for lentil. In cooking, it refers to the whole unsplit version, the brown-red skin still intact, before it gets dehulled into the orange discs most people recognize. Removing the outer skin strips away significant fiber and nutritional complexity. The skin adds earthy bitterness that balances the natural sweetness inside. Whole masoor tastes deeper than its split version and takes slightly longer to cook. In Bangladesh, masoor dal is a daily staple in the same way rice is. Not a side dish, the meal. Hundreds of millions of people across South Asia eat some version of it every day. The food industry noticed.
Masoor lentils now appear in premium packaging at $6 to $8 per pound, marketed as heirloom lentil protein. The lentil that fed the subcontinent for 4,000 years is now a wellness trend. Split peas. Split peas are not lentils. They come from a different plant, Pisum sativum, a field pea, not from Lens culinaris. They share the same shelf, the same cooking behavior, and similar nutrition, which is why they end up in the same conversation. Split pea soup is one of the oldest prepared foods in European history. Ancient Greeks sold it as street food to laborers in Athens. Roman soldiers carried it. Dutch, Swedish, and Canadian national cuisines all have versions eaten in essentially unchanged form for centuries. The US military served it in both world wars. In grocery stores, yellow and green split peas sit next to lentils. The FDA doesn't require packages to clarify they're a different species. Most consumers have no idea they're buying something botanically unrelated.
Pardina. Pardina lentils come from the Castile and León region of Spain and have been grown there for centuries. Small, brown-speckled, and notoriously firm, they hold their shape even after an hour of slow simmering in a cocido stew. Most lentils fall apart under that kind of heat. Pardinas don't. Two Spanish regions hold PGI protected status for their lentil varieties. The protein and iron content in La Armuña lentils runs roughly 50% higher than standard supermarket lentils, according to regional agricultural data. Outside Spain, pardinas are almost impossible to find. Spanish chefs use them in everything from Michelin-starred dishes to everyday lentejas with chorizo, and consider them among the finest lentils in the world. The lentil that fed a country for centuries stays invisible internationally, while French green gets the premium shelf space, even when those French lentils were grown in Saskatchewan. Lentil protein powder. A 1-pound bag of dried lentils costs about $2. A 1-pound bag of lentil protein powder costs $20 to $40 at a health food store. Same ingredient, the processing adds some cost. The packaging and marketing add the rest. Lentil protein powder is made by grinding lentils, separating out the starch and fiber through wet fractionation, then spray drying the remaining concentrate into a fine powder. The result is roughly 80 to 85% protein by weight. A $2 bag of whole lentils is about 26% protein and still contains the fiber, iron, and folate that the powder strips out. The lentil protein market was valued at $154 million in 2024 and is growing at 6 to 8% per year. Companies call it plant-based protein innovation. What they're selling is a processing markup on a crop that costs $1.50 per pound at commodity prices. Buy the whole lentil. Cook it. It's been working for 13,000 years.